welcome to Travel is My Lifestyle for me, your professional tourist. And today I have my friend Kaila Dione as my first guest. And I'm really excited to have everyone here. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, follow, like, and don't forget to leave a comment, okay? Because we need that. So today on our episode, we're going to be talking about how she moved from community to community for work and how she established that. You introduce yourself and tell them what all you do and how they can follow you.
So hi everyone, I am Kaila Dione. I am also a model, chef, a painter. You can follow my page at KAI Jams _ on Instagram. You can check out my podcast with Catherine DeLuke, my illustrious and wonderful host. We are called the Liberated Libations. So I'm so grateful and happy to be here with my friend Briony.
Yay! You made us some delicious drinks.
I have made us some mojitos. So mojitos began in Cuba. We were supposed to actually have these original mojitos on our first podcast that I actually have with the Libations.
I got friends that doing stuff, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? And so I was able to pull through for my friend. And so she thought that original mojitos were made with vodka, an absolute disgrace.
I hate vodka, and I'm telling you, I can't remember the first place I was, but they made mojitos with vodka, so I've never had a mojito, y'all. We're getting off topic. You have a podcast.
It's called Liberated Libations. It is focused on freedom, inspiration, the independence of being exactly who you are. And so we take you on a journey and have a conversation about where we are in our lives, what we're doing, the different hurdles and obstacles that we've overcome to get to exactly where we are, and just the freedom of being in a space of knowing who you are, whose you are, and the direction where you are choosing to go. So
the libations part come in. Is it just because it sounds pretty, or does the liquor have something to do with it?
So a libation is just another synonym for cocktail. It is more of what I would describe as an immersive experience when you have a cocktail. I'm concerned about having situations and circumstances like me and Brie are having today, where we establish community, where we're having intimacy. And so when I'm having a drink, those are the type of environments that I want to create for the people that are spending time with me.
And she does. Her drinks are not just rum and coke, y'all. They are amazing.
Just a general idea of what we're talking about on our podcast.
So let's go ahead and do a little toast.
Okay. What are we toasting to?
Toasting to building community and keeping community.
Okay.
I like that.
Cheers.
This is my first one, y'all. Oh, this is good. I mean, it's not like I doubted it, because everything Kaila makes is good, but it's not vodka. I can taste the mint without it being all muddled at the bottom, which is what I always see people getting. And it's really refreshing.
The difference in this one is I went to a lavender festival 2 weeks ago, and I made lavender simple syrup for Bree's arrival to Detroit to bring in the celebratory weekend.
So now we got our libations. I want to say liberations. We have our libations. They're going to loosen up a little bit. And something that I really, really focus on when I talk to anybody who's following me on anything is that travel is a lifestyle. It's not always having to be luxury. It's not always having to be budget. It's not always having to be flying. You can drive. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you could travel. Even traveling in your own community, in your own city, in your own state. There's so many things that you don't see in your own community because you're so worried about going somewhere else. I'm gonna have you 2 questions. Do you consider yourself a traveler or a vacationist? A traveler is a person who just likes to be on the go. You like to experience new situations, you like to see new destinations, but at the same time, you don't mind going to find your own food, going to find your own tours, going to actually experience the community and the culture that you're in, okay? The vacationist is a person who's trying to escape their life so they can relax, be rejuvenated. You're really stressful and you've just been waiting to go to that resort in Dominican Republic. And you might not ever leave the resort. Or when you do leave the resort, it's okay. You do 1 or 2 excursions, but you're not really doing anything off the beaten path. And so that's the definition to me of a traveler and a vacationist. And I think that's really important when you're doing these groups, because I am not a vacationist. I don't know how to sit still too long. Like, if I need a vacation, maybe 3 days tops. I don't need to be at no one's resort for a week and a half.
Yeah.
So what would you consider yourself, a traveler or a vacationist?
I would consider myself a traveler. I like to be amongst the people. I like to understand the culture of where I am. I like to have conversations with people. What I've discovered as I've gone on my journey of getting to know myself, that people are a energy supplier to me.
Yes.
That is what brings me joy and brings me happiness in life, is to experience and have conversations with people. And so being a traveler helps me better understand how to communicate and get engaged with people. So I try to immerse myself in those experiences when I can.
Exactly. I always say there's different kinds of travelers. And if you think that I'm missing anyone, make sure you comment, because this is what I've seen going on my groups. I would like to see what you think you are and what you think I am. And I'm going to do the same thing. Since we're friends and all, I should know you.
Okay.
So I always say there's the foodie. That's the person that once you touch down, they know exactly where to go eat, or they're ready to like try everything and eat everything because they really want to understand and get to know all the tastes and flavors of the area. You have the travel guide. That's the one who has the itinerary down. They are ready. They have the itinerary. They've made everything. They know everything about where we're going. That way, if anyone wants to do it, they're like, we can do this, we can do that, oh, we should do that. I have the fashionista. This is the person who has a big old bag. It's going to have lots of shoes. It's going to have lots of clothes. And they're going to look styling every single place you go, whether it's at a spa, out on the town, or just sitting at the resort or the hotel. You have the beach butterfly. This is the person who don't care where you at as long as there's a beach. Pool is not going to do it. It has to be a beach. And then the person that's just take my money. Just, I want to go there. You did. I got all these other people there. Just take my money and I'll be there. And I'm going to have joy, whatever it is.
So I have to guess what you are, because literally the whole time I was thinking about which one I was. So if I had to pick, I think I would say probably either the foodie or the travel guide is what I would think you would be. You like to eat. So as long as there's good food involved, you really don't care about what else is going on. And then as far as like the travel guide, you really want to get an understanding of where it is that you are. Like, what are the things that I could do that are outside of the really touristy activities? So maybe like a combination of the two. A foodable guide.
Okay. So I definitely see you as being the fashionista. Because you always gonna have a bag full of stuff. Because I feel like, yeah, we went to your birthday, you had an itinerary, but at the same time, we had a travel agent who did most of it. So that was the itinerary. I feel like if you were to actually just go, I don't see you just making itineraries everywhere you go.
I would prefer not to. I am probably the latter of the options that you provide.
Take my money?
Take my money. Because if I don't want to do what you want to do, I'm just not going to do it. There were specific things that I wanted to incorporate in the experience that I was going on, because I really didn't care about y'all. It was about me.
Exactly. It was your birthday.
Period. But in a traditional sense, no, I don't want to play in Jack Diddley squat. I want to show up, I want to drink, and I want to be cute.
And ideally, that's me. I had a group of friends that we were doing that for a couple of years, and those were the best trips of my life because I didn't have to plan anything. It was when I stopped really hanging out with those people that I had to start being more of the travel guide, looking up things and doing things, because I have so many people that aren't willing to just go. So now we're going to get to it. Why I have you here today. For you, Kaila, I feel like travel really relates to you because right after college, when you got your job, you got relocated. Yeah. And you've been relocated twice now?
Yeah, 2 times.
And so we're going to get more into that because she makes a great community wherever she goes. And I'm pretty sure that anybody could use that when they're trying to travel, because it's the nomadic spirit, it's the talking to people, it's the like not just being in your own bubble when you travel. Just you and your career. Okay, we met in college, we ran track together, and so we've known each other when we ain't had no jobs, we've known each other when we had jobs. And so it's just like as soon as she graduated, she had a job. Am I right?
Yeah.
You had a job, and as soon as you got it, they relocated you.
Yeah.
And I just know that even when I moved to New York for that year, I kind of feel like I felt what you were doing too, because I thought I had a community and I didn't. But you're always so good at building a very strong community wherever you are. I think I would escape. I would be like, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go visit someone else. Yeah. So how do you really establish that? And does it take time? Is it something that you struggled with? Like, tell us like where you started and like where you are now, because you went to 2 different states.
Number one thing about establishing community, it really depends on how you grew up. Community was such an integral part of my DNA as a person. I always had that sense of community, whether or not I was an athlete, whether or not it was because I was a part of the church. Like, there was always a sense of community that was established through my parents. There's always been that innate spirit of community that was a part of me. And so it just kind of naturally happens. I would say in Colorado, it took time. So I lived in Colorado Springs specifically for 4 years.
Okay.
And in the 4 years, it took me about a year to establish people that I was comfortable being with.
And was this like people outside of work? Were you able to find activities where you met new friends, or was that like hard?
So I did a couple of different things. So I had what we would call like a buddy when I joined the company that I work for now, and the buddy did meetups. And so I went to those activities with her. I did not establish any strong relationships with that group of people. I think what I primarily leaned into was I'm in a sorority at Delta, and so I leaned into that community when I initially got into Colorado as a postgraduate, and so I started there. And then I joined the company as a part of a leadership development program.
Okay.
So there were younger people that joined the company with me. And so I would go to the activities that they hosted and just found people that I felt like I could be honest with.
Okay.
And
that's important, to feel like you belong somewhere, is to have trust and just be able to exhale and not always be on.
Yeah. So I think when my mom has always told me to go with your first mind. And so when you meet someone, when you have an interaction with someone, something feels off or something doesn't necessarily feel right, you need to trust that instinct. And so it was always a subconscious thing that I did when I had interactions with people. And I think that's how I established community. And I think because of how I grew up, I always find that one person that I can go and break bread with. And then from that person, my community extends. Someone that I shared a love of food with. Like, I like to cook, I like to be in the kitchen, and so we established that relationship. And so because that was a characteristic of who they were, we tied bonds over that thing. And so the relationship just grew off of that.
So the next question I'm gonna ask is, a Black woman, how was it going into a community, and I'm just gonna say who's mostly not Black? And were you looking for more of a Black community? Were you okay with it? Was it like something that like bothered you, or was it like something that was like, okay, I'm rolling with the punches, I'm just gonna be here for a minute? Like, you know, what went through your head?
First year, rolling with the punches. Second year, I'm looking for, where can I get my hair done? Where can I go to church? Where can I get clothes that fit my body type? So there were things like that started to arise that I don't think I particularly thought about in college. And as a young Black woman, I think what made I grew up in a large city. So growing up in Dallas and to move to somewhere where there's like less than 1 million people in the community, it was difficult. It was a bit of a challenge to kind of understand people's thought processes, understanding how they engaged with each other.
South to the Midwest too.
From the South to the Midwest, and I think what makes it even more complicated is that you're going into these experiences with expectations. I expect that when I go to church, this is what I'm going to receive. I expect that when I meet certain people, this is how they're going to treat me. Like, they're automatically going to invite me to their house for dinner. And so those things didn't necessarily happen. I had to intentionally create that environment. And I will say, when you have a lack of community, you really get to know what your gifts and talents are.
Okay.
And so the paintings that you see behind me in my home, where we're at here on location in Detroit, I was cheap. And so because I was cheap, I decided to pick up painting, to paint and have art in my home. So I didn't know that I had this gift or talent until I moved out to Colorado, and I knew it. And I wanted something to fill up my wall.
I do remember you know, feeling a little down for a little bit when you were in Colorado. You had some really close friends. I met some of them, and you're still friends with them. But what about like salsa? What did salsa play? Because I know you really started developing a love for
salsa was something I just wanted to go and do something that I like to dance. I love to dance. It was something that I enjoyed. So I said, well, let's just pick up salsa dancing. And I went alone by myself to a dance community at like a local
like a YMCA
kind of YMCA type of environment. And they just brought me in. I didn't feel left out. I was probably the only, maybe out of 50 people, I was 4 out of 50 of the Black people there. But those people were very kind to me, and they just invited me into their space. And so I would say salsa in Colorado saved my sanity. I would fly back right now. I take my happy behind right on down to Colorado to salsa dance on a Sunday evening at what is my favorite place in Denver? It's called
give us some places.
La Rumba. La Rumba. Baby, they remember my name and my face.
Okay. So then I guess we'll move on to where you are now. So you were with your job and they transferred you to where you are now, which is
Detroit. The second D. The people in Detroit want to call it the first D, but me and Bree are from Dallas, so don't get it twisted. Don't get it mixed up. It's number 2.
So with you being in Detroit, I will say, I mean, just from family that I have here and being here in the summer times as an adolescent, this is my first time here as an adult, and I am loving seeing this side of it. But you don't really have the Black issue here because it's, majority Black. So now that you actually have the, let's just say the obvious community.
Yeah.
The obvious community. Was it just much easier to get? Was it easier because of all those factors? Was it easier because you've already been through it in Colorado and you knew what to look for? Because I feel like you adjusted much quicker here than you did.
I think what made it easier is grace and gratefulness. Not to get deep on you, but I just was not happy when I lived there in Colorado, and so it's a beautiful place. I highly recommend anyone to go and visit. But I think that is what made the transition easier for me was that I was in a state of gratefulness to be somewhere else, and I immediately noticed the difference in culture. Like it was just easier to be accepted. It was easier to have conversations. It was easier to find people my age. It was more difficult to find the sense and the depth of community that I had in Colorado Springs because of the lack that I experienced there culturally. So as far as activities, places to go, things to do, games, flights out, to travel, I was able to experience those things very quickly. Here. In Colorado, I was quick to experience, let's break bread at the table. Let's have a conversation. Let's stay up till 3:00 in the morning listening to the Isley Brothers and dancing in the middle of the night and just having like family reunion type experiences. Like we're having a cookout. Come to the house. I bring the sides. You barbecue the meat. And those were the things that I did with the people that I lived with there.
Okay, and I wonder too if it's because Detroit is a bigger city as well.
I think the bigger thing that I think is the difference is that although Colorado Springs was a smaller city, and even Denver is a smaller city, it was the lack, I don't necessarily want to say the lack of diversity, but I think that's truly what it is. It's easier to find your niche. And so when you find people that you really click with, it was like you got to hold on to those people. And so it was
regardless of skin, culture, all that stuff. It was just
I think it was just innate. When you met good people, it just kind of happened. And people have been extremely kind. I think Detroit gets a really bad rap, but I mean, I have experienced some of the kindest people here. I have met some of the greatest friends here, but I also have made lifelong friends in Colorado. I think for me as a person, I'm really looking at the soul of who you are, the makeup of who you are, the portrait of who you are as a person. One of the things we talk about on Liberated Libations is in our biography, our conversations are to create the symphony of our life. And so each person plays their own instrument in making the symphony come to life. And so the symphony there, the music that we created, is a totally different type of music than the music I'm creating here. And so
I like that.
I think that there was a meaning and a purpose and a sense of being that happened there. I was very involved in the Spanish community there. They really embraced me. Then I'm able to share that with my friends for my birthday in Colombia. There were things that I did and activities that I participated in that transcended into being able to take that back to my friend that I've known for over 10 years that I'm in college.
We're old.
We're not old.
When you think about like being friends with someone for that long that you didn't know as a child, because you know when you say like childhood friends, you automatically like it kind of computes in your head. Okay, I'm this old, childhood friend, that makes sense. But like to meet someone in college and be like, dang, 10 years, oh my god.
Yeah, that's how you think. I'm like fine wine, baby. The more that time passes by, the better the wine.
I mean, it's better. However, they still say the age of it.
This
is a 30-year-old wine.
You are absolutely correct, and that's why yesterday's price is not today's price. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same.
Well, yeah, I just know that you seem so much happier in Detroit, and it's really nice to see it. It's really nice to be here to experience it. My first real trip here, and I'm excited. We've had a really great time. We had a whole freaking movie yesterday. That was great. So she always has really good places to eat because my girl is a foodie, and it's great. So I say that to say, I mean, you've been with me my whole travel, you know, like watching me, getting my job, you know, anything like that, and just like the way that I like to move. But we have only had maybe 2 instances where we got to really travel together.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I wouldn't count my bachelorette as the time because y'all planned everything.
I would count it.
You would count it? Okay,
I
well,
would
good.
count it.
Well, good. So, while you traveling with me, I want to say, like, now, I don't know if the answer is favorite thing, but something that we're like, oh, that's definitely, like, that's what makes Bree a good person to talk to about travel, or that's something that I wish I could do. I feel like I'm talking about myself. But yeah, like, good things that you've been able to travel with me, like you miss when I'm not there traveling with you or something like that.
I would say what makes you a really good person to travel with is that you're easygoing. And that may be why you don't want to include your bachelorette, because you didn't have as much hands-on. But the fact that...
surprise, I couldn't do nothing.
I know. It was meant to be that way. But I think what makes you a good person to travel with is that you're very open to what the experience should be, and you don't want to be within the confines of the hotel. Like, you want to get out, you want to engage with the people. And I think that's part of why our friendship continues to evolve, is that we are people that like to be with the people. And so that is what I enjoy the most. Like, if I was to go to Cuba tomorrow to take a vacation and go with her, Cuba would be the ideal place that I would want to go, because I know that I could go with my friend and we could take away so much from the culture, and we would not leave unchanged. And so I think, like, going to Jamaica, she was able to see a side of me that she had never seen before.
Yes, I did not know my friend could sing. I didn't even know you were that social, because remember, you used to always say in college that, like, we go out because I make you talk to people.
Yeah.
No, she was the life of the party. I just had the sash on. Nobody cared who the fuck I was. It was like, where's Kaila? Where's Kaila? Is she coming out tonight? Where's Kaila? She is the life, and I loved it.
And I think we take turns. So I have seen you travel with other people. I do not approve. It is not a part of my favorite thing about you. But when I have seen you travel with other people, you share those same characteristics that I do. Like, people talk about, well, where's Bree? When is she gonna be up? What do you all want to do? It becomes, I rely on myself in those situations when we travel. Like, the first initial time that we've actually traveled out of the country together, to say, okay, what are we gonna do? Where I want to go? It's about me. What do I want? But with Bree, I think I enjoy the fact that it's the same. It's like, I am establishing this relationship because I think this is a good person, and they make recommendations about things that we should do. And so she asks questions from the people, among the people, about things that you should get engaged with that would be outside of your normal tourist vacation experience. And that is what really makes the difference for a good vacation for me.
You hear that, guys? I'm trusted. Go ahead and book that appointment on eGuide. Shameless plug. So now we're gonna do the last thing. Ask me a question. If you have any questions you want to think, anything you think the viewers would do, just ask me a question.
I have two.
Okay.
So the first question I would ask you is, what is the most important thing that you do when you get ready to go on vacation somewhere or travel somewhere?
The most important thing that I do. It's like when I'm planning the trip.
I think just like when you think that you're going to a place, what's the number one thing that you need to make sure happens, or that you need to make sure that is planned, or that you need to make sure that is experienced on your vacation?
Okay, so I'll answer all those, I guess. The biggest thing that I look for when I go on vacation is, it's going to sound really basic, but it's housing. I am a person who, like you said, I like to spend as most time as possible outside of the housing. So I don't really need to be there. However, I would consider myself a little bougie. I can't sleep in a hole in a wall. Yeah. I can eat for a second and leave. I can't sleep in a hole in a wall. So I need to look at the pictures. I need to look at the reviews. I need to, if it's an Airbnb, I need to contact, if it's 50 Airbnbs, I'm going to contact all of them. Yeah. And I'm going to make sure that they answer all my fucking, I don't know if we're cussing. Yes, we're cussing. All my fucking questions. And I'm going to make sure that they respond. They're not robots. It's safety. That's mine, I guess.
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah.
Safety is my thing. I want to feel safe. I want to feel secure. I want to feel like when I do want to be vulnerable and relax, that it's not like I can't chill.
Yeah.
I would say that's my thing.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I get that under control, and I know I've known so many people that that's the last thing they do, and I'm I couldn't do that.
I'll be right back.
I'm a safety expert, and that's what I have to have. People who just go and get their living situations later, no, I can't do that. Can't do it.
Okay. What brings you the most joy about traveling?
Travel really brings me a lot of joy. I feel like traveling brings me joy because, how do I explain it? But just with shit in life, friends, just the way my life has turned around. Travel has been the thing that I've been able to do with or without someone.
Yeah.
It's something that, like, okay, you don't want to go? I finally built up the confidence, I'm going to go by myself.
Yeah.
As well as, like, when I go, people are seeing the authentic me. They're not seeing a mask. They're not seeing this. Something about me, and I can only talk for myself, something about me when I go out and I travel, it's freeing. It's like I don't have to have on any kind of mask. It's like, I'm not going to see these people no more.
Yeah.
If I want to jump up and scream right now, not in Dubai, because, that girl got arrested.
That girl
not in Dubai. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the fact that, like, I can just do what I want to do and be okay. And then, like you said, bringing home the different experiences and it changing you.
Yeah.
Every country I go to, every city I go to, every new restaurant I go to, it changes you in some way. And I love that. I love that I can just, and you don't even know it's changing you until you get back home.
Yeah.
You don't even know. Like, I know every time I go to Europe or something like that, I'm like, I could walk anywhere. Man, I don't need a car. And I get back home and I try to walk to the fucking grocery store. I'm like, nah, that's the last time I'm doing that. But in Europe, I'll walk everywhere. I won't take a car. I won't do anything. I just walk. It just, other places are just so much more beautiful. I hate to say that. But like, you go somewhere, you see like an alley in the States. You're like, I'm not going down there. But you in the overseas, you're like, an alley. You're like ready to see it because it's so pretty. And it's like, there's always, the best food is usually down there.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. But I think this was a great episode. So once again, my name is Briony, like the flower peony. Briony like peony on all social media platforms. We have TikTok, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. And then we have Kaila Dione, and her handles on stuff are?
So I am K Jams. So Kaijams. I I'm a model, I'm a chef, I'm a host of Liberated Libations. You can also find us on Instagram there. You can also catch us on anywhere that you listen to your podcast. So follow me for food inspiration, for life inspiration, for growth.
And just wanting to smile, because she's great making you do that.
Yeah, that's the whole point. And that's why I was so open and willing to come onto Bree's podcast today, it's all about just the celebration of that is life. Yes. Like she said, I mean, travel brings us so much joy, and I recommend, if it could be a class that people taught in school, I would highly recommend it, because it opens you up and brings a different level of consideration to your life when you get to engage with people in their own element that's outside of yours.
Yes.
So she is the expert, the number one head honcho of perspectives, opportunities, environments, places to be, and things to see. So please do follow my most amazing and illustrious friend.
Yeah, so if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, follow, leave a comment. Tell me what you want us to talk about next. Tell me what kind of guests you want to see, because this is brand spanking new. And we are on location in Detroit. So go ahead and make sure you see that vlog and everything that we post about my time with Kaila in Detroit. Have a great day. Bye. How fucked up would that be if I never pressed play?
It would be a disgrace.
All right. Hey, hey crew, welcome to. Sorry, it's my first time doing this. Calm down.
I had myself a real good time there. You don't need to know the stories, because this is not my podcast, and y'all don't need to know my business. But I've had a good time. The place that I used to go to, the club, was called Thirsty Parrot in Colorado Springs. It's a club. We always had a good time. It was a Thirsty Parrot, and then I want to say it was called Red Martini, which is right down the street, which you would call maybe like a little bit more upscale place. But those were probably the two common clubs or bars that I remember going to there. I had myself a real good time there. You don't need to know the stories, because this is not my podcast, and y'all don't need to know my business, but I've had a good time.